On the latest episode of Survivor, we spent 4 minutes watching people play a Mario Party minigame that ultimately had no impact on anything except costing Star her vote. And that's what the new era is all about, baby. That and repeating stuff.
This bamboo shoot is filled with gray balls and red balls. Red balls are bad. On your turn, you must take 1 or 2 balls from the end of the chute, then place them in your chute. The first player to have 3 red balls in their own chute loses their vote.
How this game works is there's gray balls, there's red balls that are in the chute. At the end of the chute, you have the option to either pick up 1 or 2 balls and put them in your chute. The first person to have 3 red balls in their chute loses their vote.
In terms of winning chances, the new era is also about high visibility at the right time. With that in mind, I have a new winner pick, someone who's been around but under the radar until this episode when they started popping up everywhere. The winner of Survivor 48 will be this purple button down.
I came out here to win $1 million. I'm out here to chum it up and be like, yeah, you know, like it's time to play the game.
I think David said it best when he told Chrissy that she was cast on the wrong season. She didn't fit into what Jeff likes to call the tapestry, and she had so little influence, she got shut down just trying to make a suggestion about how to pick pairs for the immunity challenge. I'm glad Chrissy went out speaking her mind, because until then, her most notable contributions to the season were telling the swapped Siva tribe about the cassava on the island.
It's cassava.
Forgetting where Eva lived.
Eva, you're on a lake in Michigan skiing, baby.
Minnesota, baby.
And of course, greeting Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. Good morning. Good morning.
Wow.
Good morning, Jeff. Woo-hoo. Come on, keep it, Jeff. Halfway, Jeff.
Halfway.
How are you? Good morning, Jeff.
Good night, Chrissy.
You know, you think you have something figured out with people who you think you can trust, and then last minute, boom, something changes. And then boom, we're here. And then boom, you're asking us, what are we thinking? It's a lot of booms.
In this episode, Mary worries about Shauhin turning against the strong 5, or 6.
We're trying to do strong 6 now.
So, to ease her fears about Shauhin, Mary does the only sensible thing. She targets Kamilla. I already thought that Mary couldn't win the game after editorially drawing dead for the first 2 merge episodes. But even worse is how negatively her and David's duo is presented in its debut. If we were supposed to be rooting for their partnership, or even all that invested in it, then I think the bonus scene from several weeks ago about them bonding as members of the swapped Logie tribe wouldn't have been a bonus scene.
You look to the right, you see people talking at camp. You look down, you see people talking at the beach. You look to the left, somebody is talking at the hammock, and then you see a single one person laying down, and it's like, oh, nobody talking to you, huh? You got no vote, you got nothing but time.
I ended up feeling weirdly happy that Star lost her vote, because it was the only reason she was in the episode. The majority of her screen time before the immunity challenge came from the opening theme. Given that Star barely gets any more scraps of story than Chrissy did, she'll probably just eventually get unceremoniously voted out at the end of an episode full of toothless talk from people about making big moves. Same thing that usually happens when a dominant alliance never faces any real opposition.
I think it's funny that it's such a taboo for Chrissy for the strong guys to get together, but we have people get together based off gender, people that get together based off strategists and social players. Why now is she so upset that the one season the strong guys say enough is enough, that she's all up in arms? I think that's bullshit.
The moment the merge began, technically before it had even started, David spotted the challenge threats, the 4 physically biggest people after himself, and formed the Strong 5 alliance. Then he realized a couple days later that he actually wanted to work with Mary. He may have also noticed that she's better at challenges than Shauhin. In this episode, David appeared controlling and erratic. He and Mary are mostly depicted as wrong in thinking that they're intuitive, because they're wrong that Kamilla and Shauhin are in a secret alliance. But the funny thing is that David's intuition is right about everything else. He thinks there's more to how badly Kyle wants to save Kamilla than she's been voting with the strong 6, which basically everyone's been doing. And that's true. David almost sniffs out the actual secret alliance infiltrating the strong 6.
He obviously doesn't want Kamilla, she's lying.
But because his approach is so abrasive, instead his plan to eliminate Kamilla fails, and he puts his partner Mary on his other allies' radars.
Mary is hellbent on Kamilla being the vote that we cast on it to go home. And She's already got David hooked on it. Mary is driving something, and I can't tell why.
That's what, yes.
Between all that and his jury vote losing argument with Chrissy at Tribal Council right before he put her name to parchment, I think David's transformation is complete.
So I literally play a superhero for a living, and I know they're gonna see me as that character sometimes. They might see me as the hero, they might see me as the villain. Truth be told, sometimes I'm both. Out here, which one's it gonna be? We're gonna find out.
It's gonna be a big uphill battle, but at this point in the game, I'm trying to play as aggressive as possible.
My expectations for Mitch heading into this episode were high, but like something you buy online at a too good to be true price you convince yourself is a legitimate sale, the reality was much worse. I was still hopeful at the top of the episode when Mitch confessionaled about being ready to stop playing a scared game. But then he and Star were the only pair not shown pairing up for the immunity challenge. When he gets a red ball during the journey game, Kamilla gives a confessional about it before he does. And his pitch to rally the original Siva tribe members to target an original Logi flops. And didn't make a lot of sense to me, because if the Siva 6 weren't willing to stick together when all 6 of them were still there, even if not everyone trusted Charity, then why would they get together now? Chrissy's publicly positioned herself against David's survivor playstyle, and David's made it clear that he doesn't value any of them as even potential allies, except for Kyle. The big talk at the beginning of the episode that never actualizes into gameplay, another hallmark of a dominant alliance never faces any real opposition season.
Like, David is just so stupid. He shouldn't have signed up for Survivor. He should have called up Joe and even been like, guys, let's enter the Olympics together, because he wants to do all these challenges with them.
A lot happened to Kamilla in this episode, but she didn't do much besides single-handedly ensuring that Star lost her vote. Shauhin picked Kamilla to be his challenge partner. When David started targeting her, Kyle scrambled to save her, and her attempt to oust an original Logi member went nowhere. If Kamilla could get to Final Tribal Council, then I think she'd scoop up a lot of the non-strong 6 votes. She'd definitely get Chrissy's.
And I will say, some of you guys are doing a horrible job at jury management.
And not to pull a Kamilla and underestimate Kamilla, but I just don't think her chances of getting to Final Tribal Council are very high.
David is hell-bent on getting Kamilla out of this game, and that can't happen.
Hey!
So, what are my options at this point?
I don't know what was worse for Kyle in this episode, being forced to basically out his secret alliance with Kamilla, or willingly sharing that he thinks he could beat a hyena in a fight.
I think I could take a hyena. I think if you can get a hyena by the neck at the right angle, it's gonna come at you, you're gonna take some bites. But
of all the animals, Kyle picked the one with literally the strongest bite of any carnivorous mammal, while specifying that getting bit would be part of his fight strategy. He made Joe's pick, a retired gorilla, seem almost reasonable.
He's chilling, he can't move around as much, and I think I can get him like first thing in the morning. Jump on him real quick, slap in the face a couple times, DDT, and I'm out. But like not kill him, but like a pop, 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 and then I'm out.
Kyle's push to save Kamilla from elimination worked, and paid off a buildup of story beats about his good relationship with Joe. But whether keeping Kamilla will ruin the rest of Kyle's game, or set him up with the numbers he needs to start taking shots at the strong 6 is further up in the air than a drone at the beginning of a challenge.
I feel a little worried, if I'm being honest, but I think I'm in a good spot.
Well, that was ominous. For the past few weeks, Shauhin's been my winner pick, but like Shauhin himself,
I've been wrong about everything this season.
A couple episodes ago, Shauhin told us that if he can maintain control from the middle of the tribe, then he'll win the game. And I thought we'd start to see him do that until he won the game. But in this episode, Shauhin is missing while the rest of the Strong 6 debate who to eliminate. He's called the odd man out by Mary, the odd man out, and David says that someone like Shauhin only has a couple more chances to strike at the Strong 6. But isn't he supposed to be a member? Shauhin also names Kamilla, a person who's been targeting him for days, as one of the people he trusts the most. Right before, we see a spider on screen, the same imagery the show used when Charity got caught in Kamilla's web in the season premiere. and the moment from episode 7 of Chrissy naming Shauhin as the smartest person to eliminate that I thought was so good for his winning chances a week ago gets neutered when it's recontextualized in this episode as a reason why the strong six want to target Chrissy. The only good things that happened for him in this episode were David going so haywire Kamilla and Kyle might need to pause their anti-Shauhin schemes to deal with it, and the edit cutting to him as Chrissy said the words $1 million.
Costing people $1 million.
Still, I still think that Shauhin can win because all season it's felt like his edit was building to something big. What I think that is just changes from confessional to confessional.
I don't even know. I just knew that pole one, that one was mine. I was like, I have the hockey legs. There is no way I'm losing this challenge.
This was such a great episode for Eva, I nearly picked her as my winner for the first time all season. She continues to skirt the negativity associated with the strong six. She gets the ball rolling on targeting Chrissy, even if she later decides Kamilla is a better option. Eva wins one of the show's most iconic individual immunity challenges, and because she won, she's rewarded with an advantage clue placed inside her personal bowl of chips at the reward, which was an infinitely worse version of Rachel's French fry clue last season. We won't know what Eva's new advantage is until the next episode, but she's already decided to keep it hidden from everyone else, including Joe. If they do make it to Final Tribal Council together, that secret could be the thing that differentiates Eva's game enough for it to become the winning one.
For me, sure, I'm gonna act like a duck, but underneath, I'm churning. It's just the nature of this game, and understand, like, hey, at any moment, any one of us could go.
After a brief trip on the Shauhin train, I'm back on board with Joe being the winner. Especially if Chrissy is right about the edit shuffling around the order people picked immunity challenge partners to make Joe look more strategic.
And they don't show it, but Joe picked Eva right away. That was the first pick. Joe goes, I got Eva. And then David goes, I got Mary. And then Shauhin goes, I got Kamilla. Then Mitch says, I got Kyle. And there's me and Star just standing there. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
But it's impossible to know if that's true or not, because in Chrissy's other exit interviews, she talks a lot about not remembering stuff. And she's not the only one. Joe seems to forget a lot of what he says, too.
This could also be really easy.
I think every single one should be uncomfortable, right? None of it should ever be easy.
The easy option for me is Chrissy.
Joe's repeated talk about losing the game for honesty, or for Eva, still makes me wonder if he's going to eventually do that. But otherwise, now that we've started hearing his strategic thoughts in every episode, Joe is turning into one of the show's most hallowed, to them, archetypes. The old school alpha hero. Joe's shaping up to be a modern day Tom Westman down to the fact that they're both firefighters. Even Joe's reaction to Chrissy at Tribal Council is just a majorly toned down version of what Tom did when he found out someone was thinking about targeting him. Joe made faces from the back row of Tribal, and Tom emotionally exploited someone until they quit the final immunity challenge. My point being, a few unflattering moments don't necessarily disqualify someone from getting a heroic winner's edit, if they're a guy. Thanks for watching! If you're so inclined, please like and subscribe, and also turn on notifications to be notified about the next Survivor video. Thanks again, and see you then. Bye!